So I recently had the chance to play WWE 2K24 early with a few of the ANZ creators, and I just want to start off the video by thanking the team at 2K for bringing us out to the ANZ office to get our hands on this game. It was a really cool experience to be a part of. I very much enjoy this game. I can't wait for it to release in March. I can't say too much, but what I can say will be in this video, but honestly, I reckon this could be the game, boys. I reckon this could be the one. So the footage that you're seeing right now is of WWE 2K24's Women's Royal Rumble match, which I got Bayley, I put her in as number 1 and I played through. Actually ended up winning the match as Bayley, which is actually a coincidence because she ended up winning this year's Royal Rumble match, which I'm very happy about. But I'm using this footage to show off the first feature which I will talk about, which is changing camera angles during the match. The way that you can change the camera angle is by going to settings during your game, presentation options, and then heading down to an option called ramp camera. And by enabling it, then turns the camera around so it's facing the stage. During the Rumble, you can see people entering the Royal Rumble like you can see on screen. You've got their Titantrons going on in the background. You can also do this for one-on-ones, two-on-twos, normal matches, as far as I know. Also, as far as I know, you can do this just in the in-game settings, so by default, it's facing the stage. Not too sure though, because the build of the game we had, we weren't able to access the main options. But I'm assuming something like this, it should be something that you can just turn on, so every time you start a match, you don't have to go into the settings, you can just do it by default. So the next feature I want to talk about is the brand new blow for blow minigame that is in 2K24, and this can be started with 3 different ways. So you can either have a high stake reversal and be put into it, you can kick out of a pin and be put into it, or you can hold down the punch button and release it as soon as a punch lands, and then that will put you in it. This can only be done once per match per person, so if you're playing with a friend, you can start it once and he can start it once, but that's it for the match. What you want to do is you want to stop the meter in the green bar. If you miss it 3 times and you lose the minigame, same with your opponent. If you're both successful and no one's losing, it'll go to a spamming part where both of you just spam the punch button until someone wins. There'll also be an option where a gold bar will appear, and if you land on that, you stun your opponent and you get a finisher. I really like that they've added this to the game because this is something we actually see quite a lot on TV between a face and a heel superstar. Near maybe like mid to the end of the match, they'll start getting tired, they'll start going blow for blow. So them adding this into the game adds more immersion and more realism as well, because as I said before, not only can you trigger it yourself, but it can happen after a pin or after a high stake reversal, so it could literally just happen randomly during a match and then you're in a minigame. So this features something I didn't even realize that we needed until I actually played it, and that is the super finishes that's been added to the game. So what it is you need to build up 3 finishes and then you can hit a super finisher, which makes it practically impossible to kick out of a pin. It makes it extremely difficult. The bar is tiny, you're not kicking out of it. I like this feature, I like it being added to the game. It is a bit disappointing that not everyone has one. For example, I know LA Knight doesn't have one and he's a fan favorite, but I also I understand it to a point because I haven't really seen him hit his finisher in a special way, so it kind of makes sense for him not to have one. But you know, someone like Randy has 2, he has a top rope RKO and he also has a punt kick. Cody has the 3 crossroads, Seth I think has 2, Rhea has a top rope, Bayley has a top rope, so it's really cool seeing it, and also the animation that goes on top of the gameplay. It's really cool when you do hit a super finisher, it makes it feel special. It reminds me of the old SmackDown vs Raw games when you'd hit like a normal finisher and the screen would go all weird. This has that sort of feeling to it. It also has like that intensity feeling to it too. So I really like it, I'm a fan of it. It does take a bit to build up to the 3 finishes, but once you get it, it's really worth it. Next we'll talk about the brand new match type that is the ambulance match. This is one that we're able to get our hands on at the event, and I got to play around with it a little bit. I think this is the first time we've actually had an ambulance match on console. We may have had it on a handheld a few years ago, but as of console games, I don't think we've actually ever had this match before. So the way this match works is you have entrances like normal, but then once both opponents are in the ring, the ambulance will actually reverse down the ramp with good old Charles Robinson reversing it down. And then they'll come up with the rules saying you've got to put the opponent in the ambulance, close the door, and then you win, and then the match starts. So what you want to do is you want to try and hurt your opponent as much as you can, put them in an ambulance, and you'll get a mini game that happens per door. So there's 2 doors, you throw them in, you start closing the door, you spam buttons kind of like how you would when you're leaving like a steel cage, or kind of like how you do in the submission mini games, how when you're trying to make someone tap out, you start spamming buttons. Kind of the same thing, but once you get the first door closed, you'll then move on to the second door, and then you've got the mini game happening again, and then if you win both mini games as the person throwing the opponent in, then you'll win the match. It's really cool. Through this gameplay, we actually got to test out a couple of things. We were able to climb on top of the ambulance. You can open and close the ambulance door without your opponent being involved. and it's really cool. It's very cool that you can actually get on top of it. I think you can only throw your opponent off the back of the ambulance. I tried throwing him off the front and the side, but nothing was really happening. It was at the back of the ambulance. It looks like it's the only way you can actually throw them off, which is fine. You know, maybe you can put like a table at the back of it, throw them off the ambulance into a table. The build we had, we didn't have any tables or ladders in it, so it might be something we can do maybe when the game fully comes out. But I really liked the match. I enjoyed it. We've never had it before, so it's very interesting to get my hands on it and actually give it a try. And I think I'll be playing it quite a bit when the game launches. So there was a point in our session where we all got our controllers, we plugged it into the same PC, and we all played a fatal 4-way to test out this next feature, which is the ability to throw weapons. Now, this made it so much fun playing with friends. We tested out how far you can throw certain things, what can be thrown, and as far as I know, if you can hit someone with it, you can throw it. So we were throwing things like water bottles, chairs, kendo sticks, steel stairs. Some wrestlers had their own special items, so Zelina was able to get a chocolate from under the ring, and LA Knight was able to get a microphone from under the ring. Both of those are throwable, and I think the smaller the item, the further you can throw it, because it's not as heavy as something like steel stairs, where you may not be able to throw it as far. But we jumped on it, we played around a little bit, we started throwing items at each other, seeing what would happen, and it made it so enjoyable. It's going to make online games a lot of fun this year. And certain items, like go back to the microphone for example, has its own wake up taunt as well. So what it will do is it will smack the microphone, it might blow into the microphone while your opponent's also standing up, and you can throw the microphone at someone. I did that a couple of times. It's good to see new items getting implemented to the game, as well as different unique animations to it, so not everything feels like the same item. So it's added a lot more flexibility to weapons, and I am very happy that this is, again, this is something which I didn't know we needed, but now that we've got it, it's made it 10 times more enjoyable. Now this next one I'm just going to go over quickly because I didn't manage to get any footage of it, and that is the new ability to jump off the top rope and hit multiple people at the same time. So past games you've been able to jump off, hit one person even if it's in a crowd of people. This year you can jump off and it can affect 4, 5, 6 different people. We see this a lot in like war games and matches where there's a lot of people. You'll see someone like jump off the top rope and then everyone falls over. That is now in this game. It was hard for me to try and figure out how to do it because there'd be times where I'd set it up and then people would be in like a move animation so it wasn't affecting them. Other times it'd sort of get like 2 people. So it was hard for me to capture footage of it, but it is a new feature coming to the game, and I'm sure with more time I can get better footage of it, and I'm sure it's going to play very well. The last thing I want to talk about is a brand new spectator option, and that is if you set up a match, say like a one-on-one match between Cody and Seth, and it's AI playing and you're not playing it at all, you can actually take control of the camera and change different camera angles. You can have it so the camera focuses on Cody, you can have it so the camera focuses on Seth, you can have it so the camera's facing different directions. You can also free roam with the camera, which would be very good for content creators. It can be very good for, I guess, simulating how it would actually be if you were in that arena. And this is, it's weird, like there's a lot of features added to this game which I never knew I needed until I got it. And it's cool because I managed to walk around the arena, I was having a look, exploring, having a look at some of the t-shirts, and it's just, there's so much flexibility with this feature. And as I said before, content creators, I'm sure they could do really cool stuff with this angle. Content creators will be able to make matches feel more cinematic and add like their own flavor to matches, which I'm really looking forward to see what everyone comes up with these new camera angles. So there you have it. These are the new features coming to WWE 2K24. We don't have to wait too long. It comes out beginning of March, which that's very close. We don't have to wait too long. Excited to get my hands on this again. When we did get the gameplay, we weren't able to play any of the other modes. We did manage to play Showcase. So if you do want to watch the Showcase matches, I will have them uploaded and linked in the description. So that's going to be it from me. What feature are you excited for in WWE 2K24? Honestly, after getting my hands on all of this, there's a lot that I'm looking forward to. Probably going to jump into everything again and give everything another go. But if you like what you watched, drop a like and leave a sub. It all helps the channel. And I will see yous next time.